Did you know that in the high-stakes chip war between the United States and China, the stakes aren't just limited to advanced technology? We've witnessed an astonishing display of chess-like moves as these superpowers battle for control over the tiny chips that power our devices. These chips are the hidden backbone of our modern world, fueling everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced artificial intelligence systems, and even military infrastructure. Imagine a world where a single nation possesses a chokehold on the chips. They would not only hold an immense advantage in terms of technological innovation, but could potentially disrupt global economies, security, and even everyday lives on an unprecedented scale. U.S. efforts to stifle China's chip industry are thought to be part of a wider plan to hinder Beijing's preparations for war. Signs of the burgeoning conflict between the U.S. and China can be spotted in many different places, from balloons in the sky to videos on TikTok. But nowhere is it more apparent than on the microscopic wafers of silicon, otherwise known as semiconductors. The industry is worth more than $580 billion, but even that figure belies their importance to the global economy. Their existence powers several $1 trillion worth of goods and processes. Without them, the global economy would shudder to a halt. Their existence powers several $1 trillion worth of goods and processes. Without them, the global economy would shudder to a halt. It's therefore a source of concern to many that over 90% of the world's semiconductors are made in the place many U.S. officials think could be the site of the next global conflict, which is Taiwan. If China were to annex Taiwan, which U.S. officials believe could be attempted in the next decade, it, like the rest of the world, would find its supply of semiconductors massively disrupted. Beijing wants to boost its advanced semiconductor capacity so as to be more economically resilient in the event of an invasion. China's semiconductor industry went from having about 1,300 registered companies in 2011 to 22,800 by 2020, but the growth has been concentrated in manufacturers that produce chips that are bigger and less technologically advanced. The most up-to-date chips are 5 nanometers or smaller. China's industry is mostly dominated by chips that are 24 nanometers or above. Last year, China's Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, SMIC, the country's biggest chip maker, was reported to have produced a 7-nanometer chip, which would represent a jump of 2 generations in terms of technological progress. But analysts doubt that SMIC would be able to produce these chips at scale, and estimates suggest that China is a long way off its goal of being 70% self-sufficient in semiconductors by 2025. The U.S. wants to stop this from happening. Last year, the Biden administration imposed a sweeping set of restrictions, including a measure to cut China off from chips made with U.S. technology anywhere in the world. In March, the Netherlands confirmed it had joined an agreement with the US and Japan to restrict the export of advanced chip-making technology. The strategy seems to be working. In the first 3 months of 2023, China's chip imports declined by 23% compared with the same period in the previous year. Beijing is thought to be preparing a $146 billion support package for the semiconductor industry, which will include tax breaks or subsidies. That could also mean penalizing U.S. competitors. China's broad definition of critical information infrastructure includes sectors ranging from transport to healthcare. China's leaders are also reforming the country's technology strategy, following a shakeup that will give the Communist Party more direct control over science and technology policy. But analysts think that cash alone will not be enough to turbocharge China's industry. The country's leading semiconductor manufacturers are still decades behind the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, known as the Taiwan's Golden Goose. As a proportion of overall sales, the Chinese semiconductor industry spends a far lower share on research and development than the U.S. industry, 7.6% compared with 18% in the U.S. The industry has also been plagued by entrepreneurs founding fraudulent operations in order to access government subsidies. In a bid to crack down on this problem, last year the government revoked the licenses of nearly 6,000 chip companies, an increase of nearly 70% on 2021. China's technical challenges require not just inventing the necessary equipment, chemicals and other inputs but also learning to use them efficiently and reliably at scale. In their race for technological supremacy, Both the United States and China have pulled out all the stops. We're talking massive investments, aggressive legislation, and intense diplomatic maneuvers to secure their positions in the global chip industry. This intricate game has not only reshaped the tech landscape but has strained international relationships, sparked concerns over intellectual property theft, and raised intriguing questions about the future of innovation itself. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.